Ready for some boom, baby. Choking on my own spit for the morning motivation. I haven't spoken hours. I'm chilling inside because it's raining on the outside. And these rainy days have triggered some little form of depression in me. I didn't want to pretend to be so active on days that are so rainy. Rainy days, they're here again. See those grays? Not your friend. I think it was a trigger warning from my mom contacting me, and it's kind of put me in a funk overall. So I'm just going to chill and have the morning motivation and see the things that, man, nobody's watching. It's not that, it's just my habit of doing the morning motivation every day. Like some commitments are easier to make than others. Like yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I was in the park being in the sunshine, and today I get to be inside and just sit with my thoughts, play with my phone too much, watching human beings and myself a lot. It is a full on fucking trip. I should not watch that many. What's that moving around? That many cops. The cops things trigger me, pulling people over or arresting people or breaking into the wrong house and just like trying to apologize. There's all sorts of things that are trigger warnings for me. Obviously, my mom reaching out to me is a trigger warning for me. Rainy days can be a trigger warning. It's a tough situation to be a depression survivor, but get stints of it when it happens. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm simply saying that sometimes I think the weather and the pressure and the lack of financial abundance that Neville Goddard has promised me, I'm supposed to imagine, that these millions are already with me, that I'm already a multimillionaire, that I'm already successful, even though the phone's getting turned off sometimes, or I'm stuck in Finland without a ride, or all sorts of lemony snickets of events that I've always survived. And the tough ones are the lost relationships, or lost babies, or the loss of love in general. It's tough on me. I don't pretend to be a superhuman being. I don't try to put on airs while I'm watching other people. I was watching people just like being people. People being people means that sometimes they're angry and they're throwing money at people when they're supposed to be paying for their food, or just being rude. That was rude. Or, I watched a lot of, what is that? What do you call that? When you got anger issues, road rage. Watched a lot of people just lose their shit and be superhuman, and that means entitled. It means less sophisticated, and it means more human than most of us want to relate to. Spending all day in bed on a rainy day seems like a loss for me, but I was also so tired getting up so early this week. I had morning meetings at 5 o'clock in the morning, and not hearing back for the person that I got up for to make sure that meeting happened, and to lose sleep because we got to open the shop and make it happen. And what am I going to do to make it happen, to move forward? Keep the phone on and move on and travel to the next destination. And I have people walking behind me. It's a full on trip, but they're not even paying attention to me. We humans are a fucking trip and a half, man. I don't know what else to say to that. That's a full on truth of the matter, that we act so civilized but quickly lose our tempers. I wanted to call this one jealousy and envy because it seems to plague not just me, but all of us. The little girl is like, I want a boyfriend. We all want so many things, but the precious thing of life is that it exists. But then when we exist, it doesn't feel like it persists. And to be a person of persistence and to kind of continually output good energy and not fake it and go to make it. I'm watching one of the other YouTubers. I'll shout her out, Christy Love, and I felt like she was so faking it. It's like all the time by herself, going live no matter what she does. Hey, I'm gonna be in a hot tub. I'm just gonna go live. I'm gonna eat some food. I'm just gonna go live. I'm not saying nothing important. I'm just gonna go live. And I'm just like the loneliness of our lives. I'm like, I'm lonely too, but I try not to drag too many people into it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I got multiple friends and I'm so busy I can't even keep it together. And then I got friends that'll use me and not really be there for me. It's another part of the other side of the coin. It's a lot of lonely. I'm gonna smoke the last of this hash. Yeah, baby, join the weed club. And I think this is part of the weed club scenario is to, you know, be one with yourself. And if we're too much for ourselves, it's easier just to zone out. YouTube's my favorite. You can tell me yours, in the comments below. If anybody even gives a fuck to say the comments below. Most of my people hit me up for advice to like the Artemis Club or shit I did years ago. And I don't know, man. I'm tripped out. I'm tripped out by the human experience that I have less of my life to live than what was ahead of me. How weird it was to be so young and think that everything was in the future. And now I'm already thinking about the ending. That's a full trip to me. I don't know what that means, but it's just what it is. I can't believe that I'm 45. I'm still alive, and how long will I be alive? I'll listen to some shit and they'll be like, yeah, he died at 42, Elvis, or just how quick it is to end and how much I want to live before it ends and how much I love my friends and how much I love living my life, and then sometimes not so much, like it's easy to say all the time, I love my life, but sometimes it's just so stagnant. I get a lot of downtime. And even though I'm editing my videos, or even though I get bomb ass weed, and I mean really bomb ass weed, it still only kind of satiates me. It doesn't complete me. Not like the feeling of like being in love or having someone to call or someone tells you that they love you. I look at all my situations and see my father in me. I thought it was just a thing. I get in so much trouble if I didn't keep the names right or the excuses right. Would you tell her? This is the fucking 80, this is the 90s, and oh, I told her you were at the grocery store, or she says she's gonna be by later, and he would like grill me on his excuses, the excuses I gave him to date these chicks, and I could see it was so important to him, more important than me, and why do I do these things? Why do I get on lives and express myself? And why do I tell the world about my inner dialogue and thoughts? It's like habit forming. I could easily just sit here, and I will after I get off this live, and just stay inside, stay away from the rain, stay away from the rainy thoughts and the depression that's kind of taking place. I need a bit of a pick me up. About to pick myself up right here and go smoke this joint, really. But life is a fucking full on trip. We all pretend like we don't exist. We show up with these masks that don't show who we really are. We're so afraid that other people will judge us, so we don't exist fully, or exist more. As my buddies, I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but it's a great phrase, just to exist more than we already are. We're so easily captivated by other people's perception. I was watching one guy, he actually translated it from Italian, but the word literally meant tap water. He sold some tap water, and these girls were like, "Oh yeah, this should go for 400, 500." It's like, do you hear yourself at all? That we're so easily manipulated by groupthink. If you put it in a fancy place and everybody's wearing a tie, and you showed up, got dressed up for tap water, it's amazing how easily we're manipulated. It's crazy how easily we are competitive. You know, we'll sit in situations and say, "Oh, okay, like as long as I get mine, who cares if anybody's not getting theirs?" You know, how we're so self-centered that it's like, okay, I gotta pay my bills, and there's some people that haven't even eaten. Like, can you imagine? I don't think we can. I don't think we imagine enough. I don't think our imagination sits there. Neville Goddard talks about imagine what it's like to be a millionaire. I am a multimillionaire. And to say that out loud multiple times, to manifest it till it's a reality instead of a dystopia in your mind where you're maybe telling yourself lies. But isn't that what we do anyway, usually during the day? Oh, everything's going to be okay, even if we're not okay. And then normally we're supposed to go get help if we're not okay. And checks out that most of us would rather just pretend that we're okay than to admit our defeat or the feeling of the depression sinking in. It's so much easier to just go buy a coffee at Starbucks than to let it sink in and say, "Oh, all my decisions have been made by me, haven't truthfully helped me." And then you go in and you make the same decisions over and over because we're just in our own capacity, just like a monkey, to just driven to get the sugar and salt and the satisfaction from everything. We're so dopamine addicted that it doesn't matter that I'll spend all my time on YouTube or let the day go by as if there's more days promised, and then at the same time be ridiculous and be like, at 45 I won't live that long. So I'm like mad that I won't live that long, but I'm not mad enough to get off my ass and go outside and do something about it, you know? Which usually I do. So don't let me be so hard on myself. Is so true. But these are the things that we do. Weird ass fucking humans that are so complicated, driven by love, but then by lust, and then by loss. And it's a fucking full on trip. I don't know what's going on. My buddy's over here doing massages, and then people are walking in, and I'm like, with my shirt off on the couch inside the shop, which is kind of weird. Whoa. Okay, door slam. Calm down. But this is our lives, It's such a weird, intricate thing to be alive. Like, I'm alive, but I'm like not fully alive. I'm not like on top of Machu Picchu alive, right? Mm. The lives that we live are so confusing, Sometimes you're just so bored that you would rather poke your own eye, you know, than to not feel alive or not feel anything. And then some people lose their lives, and we're like, oh no, it's such a tragedy. I can't believe that actually happened. But you won't do anything for your life to make it actually happen. That's another trip and a half, too. I don't know. I find humans a trip. I just think we're so weird to this life and existence. I wish I had all the keys to the kingdom to explain everything. My thoughts just run from one thing to another. Some people are happy, some people are sad, some people are in between, some people don't even know what they are. We're just existing, and I can't imagine, what it would be like if I was like, I don't know, 300 pounds or 400 pounds. I sit here with my caramel skin and my muscles, and I bitch about not having all the benefits. And then there'll be somebody else that really has it tough in life, that it's not easy to have these lives that are so complicated. It's supposed to be simple. You're supposed to have sunshine and life and love and exist in a utopia. And then I see road rage and police and murder sometimes. It's just like the most horrible things. There's a trigger warning for me. I shouldn't watch any of these things. Something got in my algorithm from last night, and then they just kept circulating them. And then I see the sweetest things, like someone having a daughter. Like my friend at the park, after I got off my live, they saw me. They came up and he's like, "I'm gonna go spend time with my daughter." So yeah, okay. They go play, and then they came walking up, and the ice cream was like, "Can you believe it? €6 ice cream." And sure as shit, the ice cream almost fell. He caught it, but then he spilled coffee on him. It was all over the place, and these kind of crazy things that we see in our lives, that I watched on my live or with my own eyes. She started to cry, and he was like, "Victu," and then he could see that he was scaring her, and he was such a better dad than me, being so patient, even with coffee, hot coffee all over him. And she's crying, and it's €6 ice cream, and it almost dropped, and he's got it in her hands, and he's trying to convince her to calm down. And soon enough, she started laughing, even with tears still on her face. And I was like, man, he's such a better man than me, having a business that his dad gave to him and making it successful and being smart enough to run it. And I'm over here sleeping in it. And they got so much love for me to share their family with me and share their lives with me, always inviting me around the family and to eat with them, and again, sleep in the office, and it's a whole ass thing. So we as people, we're so weird like that, these weird changes that we have. And I was embarrassed because I'm sitting here in my blanket, just sitting in the office, just chilling, sleeping on the couch. I keep it real 100. This is all my things and belongings in the world. And a guy came in and was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom because he's getting a massage." And it's all weird. Our lives are so intricate and so different, and different planets. And maybe that's your message. Maybe that's the experience you're supposed to have. It's intricate. This life is a fucking full-on trip. I don't know about it, but it trips me out. Luckily, I got my shorts on to go smoke a joint, and just taking it slow on a rainy day, yo. I'm not so much rising and shining, more as observing and finger flicking. But that's this life that I live. I think that I'm alive. I can feel my limbs, my Saints Addiction shorts. My thoughts run from to and fro. My wish list is for family. It makes me feel empty. They say don't brag to the barren, because when you're without children, it makes you feel like you're missing something from life. And be honest, some people don't want to be that honest. I'm grateful that I got skinny and I'm fit, but it doesn't matter unless you get to share it, you know? And that's what I want to do. I wanted to share my knowledge or my words to be so influential that they inspired people. But even then, sometimes I got to get higher, you know? Get high before you expire, inspire before you expire, those kind of things. And I feel good, I feel fit and ready, but also feel unsteady. Like I gotta pull another miracle out of my ass when I travel this world. And with no money, I keep making it happen. I still exist. I still have value. I'm still a human being. But it also transpires that I need me some motherfucking touchdowns. I built this team. I built this experience, and I don't know, man. Maybe it is the rain. Maybe it's the pain. Maybe it's the moms. It's the triggering, and maybe it's my whole ass experience. You know what I mean? It's one of those where we act like we're so tough and so put together, but at any moment, life can humble us and really make us cry about something. I'll give you something to cry about, as they say. Where'd my joint go? There it is. Every day. I don't know. I'm gonna go outside. Forget I even mentioned it. Let me pee real quick. Let me see. All right, perfect. We're reconnecting. But I'm live at the 95. Not the one about allergies. Human experience. Waking up in the dream. These are the machines. Making it happen, Captain. Even when I don't think it's possible. My first time outside. Oh, is that what they were talking about? These things? These metal sheets? I don't know. Out here in the rain. It's driving me insane. People in Muslim garb. Maybe. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just wanted to see what this is. I will tell you, it's nice to be outside, that fresh air smell. It's like nothing else. I'm glad I went outside, even if it is cloudy and rainy and dreary, and maybe I'm misunderstanding my emotions, and maybe I'm supposed to be a robot and just suck them all down, but we're not robots. The best thing about us is we're not AI. We're not dysfunctional. We're human, and in our human experience, we learned as a kid, I was talking about it earlier this week, that you're 8 years old and then you set up your own defense. And Plastic Pocket Challenge. You know, you set up your own defensive mechanisms, or, you know, reaction speeds and all these things, you know, and all part of the plan. And that's our lives, you know, going by. And then I watch this old man going by. He's staring at me. You can see him staring at me. I'm gonna smoke my joint in front of him, you know. And then life goes by so fast. You'll be old with white hair, wishing that you had your knees. And then, you know, back to normal you go, I guess. Yep. I don't know. Whew. Whoa. Gotta wake you up. But what do I know? I'm a human like you that barely understands himself. And I thought I had more control over it. But some days are rainy. Some days are dreary. And on these rainy days, I look at my life and I ask, what direction is it going in? Is it going to bring me children? A wife and a life? Am I ever forever going to be a bachelor? With my multi-millions, but no one to share it with or give it to when I die? Is that even alive? Am I even alive? Well, my days go by, and I'm supposed to be, you know, or what I think I should be, you know. Mushrooms on shirts. And then I watch mycelium circulate the life. You know, it's such a trip, human beings. Full of ups, full of downs, smiles and frowns. It's all part of the plan, isn't it? I can see the hash burning inside of it. But that's all of us trying to win at this game called life, and it's not always easy. I don't know if people keep it that real when they're just watching TV. Or sleep all day. Or when you have insomnia or your friends don't want to play. I don't know. It's kind of why I travel the world, so I can have more friends. Oh, yes. And be friendly to my own mind and my own body. That's a trip. This whole life is a trip. If I figure it out, I will let you know. I look into the histories and mysteries of people, and we're all different, man. Everybody's on their own path. Each individual apartment has its own story. Look at all the stories around me, stories untold, lives being created or destroyed. I don't know. For a minute there, I thought it was this close. I am this close to being a multimillionaire. I am this close to being the hero in my own story. I am this close to turning my frown upside down. It's really a choice. And I try to make the right choices every day. It's not as easy as what we say, but how we talk to ourselves when no one else is looking. You know, you're the only one that's got to hear you. You know what I mean? You're the only one that listens to those inner inside and all those other things. And it's all of us, you know, it's all of us that sit inside of our lives and turn around and do things that we don't realize. And you can try to fucking point the finger at anyone else, but the truth is it's at us. You know, are we as aware as we pretend that we are? Are we as rare as we pretend that we are? And are we there as much as we pretend that we are? And time goes by without care. It doesn't say, oh man, you should have, and you could have, and it would have. It's just gone. And then it's another day looking at a cloudy sky that's gray. I just want to be free. Mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, and emotionally. If that wind shakes the water from the trees, it's going to be a wet, long, gray day, but I'm just grateful to be alive. As much as it's not alive as I'd like to be on my life, you know what I mean? I am alive. And what a beautiful experience it is, you know? Look at all these branches. It's okay. I mean, got awfully close to me, but it's okay, man. Dig these trees. Instant rain. Would you rather be a tree where you never get to move or do anything, but you only have 4 emotions to stick to? Or how about a dog or a cat? Dogs on shirts, cats on shirts. Would you rather that? Some of us would. If someone feeds you, takes you for a shit, and picks up your hot shit right here. That's love. Cleaning up a baby, that's love. I had a baby on my lap the other day, and they were just like, "You're so good with babies," and the baby's just staring at my beard like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm different. I'm weird. I'm bright colored, and I'm beardy all day. But I make it happen, Captain. You know, I'll make my legs move, or at least my mind moves my body. I keep myself from being naughty. Not always, but it happens. And this downtime, between time, I think how much time I had by myself, quiet time to have my own thoughts and think to myself. And maybe it was in jail, maybe it was in prison, maybe it's just in a daily life. But I've had lots of downtime, alone time. No wonder when it's like time to have sex, I want to have as much sex as possible. Or when it's time to eat, I want to eat as much as possible. My gluttony goes with my envy, goes with my jealousy, goes with my wrath, goes with my sloth, goes with my vanity, goes with my... What's the other one? Did I get them all? I think that vanity goes back into envy, and we just go cyclically through 7 rings. There's 9 rings of hell and 7 different sins, and the other 7 is what I want to practice on. I'll get those again. There's like the opposite of wrath, the opposite of sloth. You know, there's a whole list of virtues that I want to work on next time. Hopefully, when it's sunny and my mood is better. Well, that's my morning motivation. If you got anything out of it, you already know. Like, share, subscribe below, and join Week Club. Peace and love. And as always, Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever and finish. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. The other side of your fears, that part. The other side of your excuses, that motherfucking part. And the other side of the world, because that's where I'll be. That's the Finland flag. Peace.